What is going on? My name is George and welcome back to my channel. If you want to learn more about entrepreneurship and how to start a successful online business, then start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. I'm very excited because today I have a very special guest, Kenneth Pohl. He's a serial entrepreneur. He sold his startup at age of 24, which he started from zero, and he went all the way to 100 in literally a couple of years. And besides all of this, he's a great guy, a dear friend of mine. So let's give it up for Kenneth Pohl. Kenneth, thank you so much for coming and taking this time and doing this interview.
Thank you so much for inviting me. So pleasure to have you.
All right, Kenneth. So we talked a little bit before about your story, and I just wanted to kind of start this interview by asking you, how did you get into entrepreneurship, and what really gave you this drive to do entrepreneurship?
I would say that the biggest push is your parents, how they teach you and how they coach you through the life. So my dad has been quite independent, so if somebody is independent and tries to give these values that they live in to other person, so they will kind of influence you. So my dad just, when I was in the school, I was like 8, 9 years old. So he was like giving me, hey, you have to push try to straight something in the school and stuff like that. Okay. So and back in the days when I was 8, 9, the really popular were these the Pokemon rings, or you had to flip them from the Cheetos. You got them from Cheetos chips. So and then I started trading with them, and so the time went. And then you find new other things to trade, like energy drinks and stuff like that. We found ways how to get cheap stuff. So and we just started to flip them. So and then day by day you collected some cash, and then it piled up. So, so it was really interesting. At the same time, you had your own notebook to put the pluses and minuses on there.
Nice.
So you already calculated as an entrepreneur like how to make a profit. So
you got an early start with the bookkeeping, huh?
Yeah. So I remember when you had your birthdays, then you already collecting money, so you were thinking, oh, where do I invest, or what are you gonna do with the money? And when it's really hard to collect, it takes so much time to collect money, right? Even if you're an entrepreneur, it takes time. But when you build your house, then it's so hard to build that. But suddenly it can just collapse immediately. So that's the thing. You have to be really precise and careful with your assets.
With managing money.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of some people can understand how to make money, but they're not that good at keeping the money. So maybe you have some advice on how one can actually keep the money when he has some kind of positive cash flow.
Lately I actually had with my good friend discussion about that. He's a few years older than me, and we were discussing how do you manage your assets and stuff like that. So one thing is that if you, let's say you have income, one principle is that income can be from your salary or income from your dividends or your company's making profit. So let's say your company is making profit, then you only spend, let's say, a certain amount percentage what you earn, and rest you invest or something like that. So you have a set of rules or principles how you follow what you do. So you have to basically find your golden rules that you follow, and you have to be strict with them. Because if you aren't strict with them and you break them, that's the gray area, or where you can start losing your discipline with your cash and stuff like that. So, but he said he's spending only 5% whatever he wants to do. So 5% is that amount he spends whatever he wants to do.
So from the profit of the company.
So what he earns. So that could be one. So it depends how much you want to spend, how much you want to enjoy the life and stuff like that. So people are different. So and the one strategy is everything what you earn, 50% put aside, invest, and 50% is like your
Right.
So it's all about what you want to do.
Okay.
There are not like strict rules. This is the only way to go.
Right.
So it depends on the persons and the needs and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have to enjoy the life and you have to give yourself rewards.
Right.
If you don't give yourself reward buying like Lambos and stuff like that in one day, which is my dream and I want to enjoy, because sports cars, motorsport is part of my life, because my granddad, my father has been like really keen and inside the motorsport.
Right.
So this is what I want to do and I'm passionate about. I want to have my car collection, stuff like that. So I'm dreaming of that.
Right.
Besides cars, it's art. So I want to art and cars to integrate.
I didn't know that.
So yeah. So this is what I'm dreaming, and I know when I'm dreaming, I'm subconsciously working towards that. So it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time when it's happening.
Exactly. So you've talked about how one should reward himself, and I think this is it's a big problem for people who start off with this. And also, let's come back to this point you said about that there's no strict rule for anything, right? So I think a lot of people, when they're first starting out with the whole self-development and entrepreneur journey over the internet, right? They can be very vulnerable to these online marketers who try to sell them courses, and I'm talking from my own experience here a little bit, and they kind of get like vulnerable into thinking that whatever they're listening to is the ultimate truth. So you should start an online business. That's the only key to freedom or success.
Is it Taylor Lopez or somebody?
Yeah, Taylor Lopez.
Yeah, he's like pushing that. It's like for everybody, just be entrepreneur.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone who is just starting out? He wants to self-develop. He wants to invest into himself, and he wants to start perhaps an online business. But what advice would you give in terms of this ultimate truth, and that there's not a single thing?
That's a tough question, because everybody needs to find their own way there. Because I can't say this is the right way you have to go. You have to just find. You have to read. I think reading is like Warren Buffett's saying, reading is super important. It just expands your knowledge, your views of different aspects and things. So, and I mean, experiencing different cultures, traveling has influenced me a lot, because I like to travel. I like to see how different cultures and different people are thinking. So networking, I mean, humans are doing business. So you need to connect with people to understand what they're thinking, how the new industries are developing, what are the new trends, where you can hop in and hop off. So it's all about, so many different things. It's not one thing like we just discussed. So you have to be really open-minded and connect with people who are smarter than you, so understand what's the right path to go. So.
Interesting. So you said that books expand your thinking, right? And you said earlier that this expansion of thinking allows you to make better decisions.
Sure.
So talking about books, what are some of your favorite books, or what are some of the books that had the most impact on you as a person?
I kind of like Ray Dalio principles. It's like a Bible, like how this guy has been through so many ups and downs, and entrepreneur life is like a roller coaster. So the highs and lows lows are going deeper and highs going to higher. It just goes in the end, it's in the long term, it's everything goes up.
The curve is up. But
exactly.
when you're in it, it's like this.
Exactly. So it's like a stock market. Boom.
So what advice would you give? Where you're talking that it's the lows are lower and the highs are higher
at the beginning, because you're not taking any risk with the capital what you're investing in and your time, because at some point you have bigger bets on your companies or your ventures. So if these are collapsing, then you're losing everything, basically.
Your bets basically increase.
Exactly. So that's why you have to kind of diversify your portfolio in a way.
Okay.
So let's say entrepreneur who is focusing just one company, making profit, but diversifying its portfolio with stocks, real estate, and stuff like that, or doing different like ventures. I have several companies where one is generating money. I might invest some new projects at the same time, which I know that I can contribute. I built the team, I built the marketing brand and stuff like that, which I believe myself more than any other person. Because I don't know how they perform. So it's a matter of how you diversify your portfolio. But everything is so, internet is a lot of these things, so you just have to find like trustful and high believability persons who you can believe, who has experience, who have done already something. Because it shouldn't be advisable to trust somebody who has zero execution or zero knowledge of operating a business. So that's the thing, you have to listen people who have already experienced stuff like that. So yeah, and that's what Ray Dalio in this book is really discussing, and giving these interesting hints that you need to set your goals, then you need to revise them when you fail them. Why did you fail? So write down the principle. Why did you fail? What was the reason? So you know that you avoid that mistake or trap again in the future.
So you've touched on this on the point that business is people, and that you need to find people who you can trust. Now you've also, earlier we were talking, you mentioned that it's really hard nowadays to find people that you can really establish trust with someone. So how can someone find the right people who are better than you, and how can you identify if you are able to trust them? What kind of signals are you looking for in a person?
Probably the most is the execution. The actions, what the person is taking, and when you agree something, does the person really do, and being honest with the things. So you see from the actions. So that's, I think, the most important thing. I can tell you everything, but if I don't do what I'm telling, then how do you feel? So how do you feel? Let's agree something, and let's say I build you a website for your new e-commerce website. So I say in 2 weeks it's ready. So you right now believe me. You're trusting me that I'm making that happen. So in 2 weeks I'm disappeared. You're trying to call, you don't get any answers.
I don't do any business with you.
So that's the answer.
Right, exactly. So actions. So someone, if you're making a connection with someone and you're trying to make something happen, make sure you deliver on what you promise. And that's the most important thing for you as an entrepreneur.
How do you feel?
Exactly. I mean, I feel the same way. Action is everything. You just execute. If you talk, and if you don't do it, then you're not gonna go too far.
Exactly.
All right. So now let's come back to so you were after you did the things in the high school with the Pokemon cards, you then went on to build you started an ice cream little stand at the beach.
Basically it wasn't stand. I had a cooler and I just walked on the beach and sold ice cream, and this was just direct connection with the beach or the people who were in the beach. So one-on-one, boom, boom. Hey, do you want to buy ice cream? So you had to persuade them to make the purchase.
Nice.
And to make them feel they need ice cream right now.
So how did you do that? How did what kind of skills did you learn?
I mean that you have balls to approach persons without any expectation before. What the other person is going to say. You're just going to ask.
So fear. Fear of rejection.
Yes, exactly. There wasn't any fear for me. One goal was that I have to get the box of ice cream. I need to sell that. So exactly. Otherwise it's melt and minus.
Minus for you. And you don't want to have a minus. No. All right.
I think the most important for me was that I did that 3-4 years in the summer when I had the school break summer. So in the morning I fill up my freezer in the home. So I was living from 300-400 meters from the beach, so I had a big freezer in the cars. So I filled up every morning or every night with ice cream. So then I had these two boxes. It was quite nice training as well because it's sandy. So you have a lot of power to move on the sand. It's not just an asphalt. So and nice body work as well. And it was a foundation for my kind of sales work later on my other businesses, because this is what I like the most, sales. And I developed quite good foundation from there, talking with persons and trying to bring them value, and understanding you as a person, what are your needs. And so the most important, I just have to listen to what you want, and mirror what you want to hear from me.
Ooh, that's nice. I like that. So would you recommend that, the earlier someone starts in this whole entrepreneurship journey, the better for them?
Yeah, they have more mistakes, they do they face more problems, and they can take that in the later stage when they have bigger bets and use that knowledge. Yeah, it depends when somebody finds and who pushes them there. The big trigger for me was that my dad was pushing me there. Like, why the fuck you waiting here right now? Go do something. So it's all about your parents a lot, because they influence you in the early stage the most.
So what if someone comes from a background where their parents didn't push them to do entrepreneurship, but they kind of got it by themselves?
Luck. There will be luck. Somebody found their interest about doing their own. It's not about just parents. Parents are one part from big influence. But maybe you read right things, you got inspiration from somebody. God says no. God says what?
There's many
different things. In life, there's no one particular thing that.
And that's an important thing. There's not one single thing. If someone tells you that this is the only way, you should probably be very skeptical of them.
Exactly. So even in your e-commerce stuff.
Exactly.
Doing your paid ads there. So one is saying really excellent guy, knows a lot about paid ads. Doing that doesn't work for you. So
it's very individual. So many factors take into account. Whatever what you're trying to get. So ice cream, high school, and then at the end of high school, you started a car business where you were importing cars from Lithuania to Estonia.
So it was like then some cash piled up, so I wanted to do something else with that. So with my friend, we started to buy cars in Lithuania.
It sounds so simple. We started buying cars in Lithuania, just bringing them over to Estonia. But I mean, that's quite a thing to do for someone like 17, 18.
I just got my driving license, and I was in 12th grade, I think, in high school. I just got back from the States. I was exchange student there, and usually it's quite rare to do two school years at the same time. So I did the Estonian one and the States one. I negotiated with my principal that I don't want to skip 1 year. I just want to do both at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And did it work?
Yeah, it worked out. So it's everything, no matter how much you want and how much you put effort in, that will be the result.
Everything is negotiable.
Everything is negotiable.
Every price is negotiable, whatever.
There is no fixed price.
They had no fixed prices. I love that. Alright,
so when I came back, we started to do the car business. So in Lithuania, everything was cash. So one time we went, we had I think 50k cash. So we loaned a little bit also to buy more cars, because I didn't have that much money. So you had with the MERN purse, you went to the market and you had to buy in cash with the cars. So that was crazy time. So
you bought cars for cash and then you brought them over to Estonia. Did you have to repair the cars?
Yeah, we had to repair, and but we did that. After that later stage, we established our own company, and then everything you can't do in a big scale such a business, so
Right.
it's not scalable.
Okay. So let's talk about the business you exited, the ones you started after high school and your first kind of big like breakthrough. So for those listening, Kenneth started a startup at the end after high school, and talk a little bit about the idea of what the startup was, how you took it from zero to actually exiting it for profit.
So after high school, I went to study in London, University of Westminster Entrepreneurship, and my goal was after high school I wanted to get out of Estonia immediately because I had this hunger to explore things and to get some interesting adventures.
Yeah.
It's like that you need to have that drive because that's where you want to find things.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, that's really difficult to make a breakthrough because you don't have the inner drive. So, but my good friend Sebastian, who went to Hyper Island in Stockholm, which is like really well known, like really good quality, and it's like it's not like a university, it's like a kind of like a private digital agency school, or quite interesting stuff. So it's really practical, which is important. So you work like a practical project inside the school already, so getting the real hands-on experience. So we were discussing some different ideas what we wanted to do, and we start to go in Stockholm different meetups for tech meetups, where everybody pitching some ideas, and then your mind start to wonder, Kenneth, what do you want to do, and stuff like that. So then we came up one night Skyping, and we have this TransferWise, Uber, and all these tech startups, and nobody's doing really not something big in education. So we were like, okay, that's interesting. We couldn't really find anything interesting. And we were like, okay, we just came out of schools, we knew the system, how everything worked, so might as well let's try to get the schools on board. At the same year when I graduated high school, the same fall when I went to university, it was November, we went back in Estonia. It was a break or something like that. Then we called the schools, like, we have this idea, blah blah blah. Then we got the meetings, and our goal was to do pilot tests. So the idea was that you have in mathematics, chemistry, physics, you have paper books with formulas, explanations, exercises, and so on. So we wanted to do digital book for mathematics, chemistry, and physics.
So you want to digitize paper content.
Exactly. With the test, so the teacher has analytics, how well the class is performing, which question types they are lacking to knowledge, where to revise, and so on.
Nice.
That was the idea.
So like very scientific kind of approach to education.
Exactly. That was the idea for doing pilot tests. So we digitalize only this particular piece of content, and doing prototype, does it like really how the schools are, what's the feedback from their side, how the students are reacting on it and stuff like that. So it turned out really well. So we got really high feedback score. We also cooperated with the Samsung Baltics, and they provided all the tablets infrastructure. So we went to school with the tablets and our soft and everything. So every school tested like 3 or 4 weeks. So, and they only studied from our this test product.
Right.
So it worked well. After that, we got really good feedback. Then we understood, okay, we have to push forward. So then we started to, then we applied to one Estonian the startup competition where we received, I think, 30,000, it was 20,000 euros or so. But at the same time, we raised our first investment round as well.
Nice.
And then we understood, okay, now the shit is getting real. Like we have to now execute because people trusted us. We did the pitch and everything, and they were like, okay, I'm willing to give the money. Boom, 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 and the tickets were coming in. So and then the other thing was okay, now we have to get on work.
Now we have to get going.
Yeah, exactly. And my role was to make the sales happen and to having built the trust between the schools and us, because we are a newcomer in the market and schools are really conservative.
Yeah.
For them to adopt some new stuff, it was like really difficult, and we knew that, but somehow we did like quite good job.
So how did you overcome their objections with this conservatism?
So we basically went to school. I like 1 month I traveled. I visited I think 100 schools or so. So I was like every day 2, 3, 4 schools. It depends on how far the schools were to each other.
Right.
So I took my car. The lessons in Estonia is 45 minutes. So I had some days I had capped 15 minutes. I had to be from one school to another school to get to the other lesson. So I had to optimize my time so to get as many schools as possible.
Right.
Because in the end it was like how many potential leads as a school I have. So it was all about numbers game, exactly. So it was interesting times. So what we did was that we gave the school a demo lesson how to use our like software and the digital books. So the teachers saw, I told the teacher, now we have to create with you the groups. So all the students went to the teacher's group. Then we created a test with the teacher. So I guided the teacher through the learning process, or how should she use the platform. So with the real life example, it kind of like worked out kind of. So yeah, so that's the...
By showing them, the teachers, how to use it, you kind of overcame their conservative objective. Okay, we need to round this up for the first part, but let's talk one last question about how does one... So you talked that, you started a startup, you exited it successfully, for a big sum of money, and you started all these businesses. But the question is, so I often hear people talk about that they want to start a business, and whenever they tell me their idea, it's usually some kind of very small idea, insignificant, that it's already in the market, there's too much competition, it just won't work. So, and I've been guilty of this myself, as well. I've been starting some like small, shitty businesses, drop shipping, print on demand, whatever. I'm working on bigger scale now. But what advice would you give to someone to think bigger, to tackle bigger problems, bigger ideas, and to not be afraid to, just like dream big and start a big company?
Oh, that's a tough question. Before getting the big idea, you have to do a lot of shit work.
Right.
So yeah, it's not like someone may be lucky to have the big idea.
Yeah.
But it's about a lot of trial and error.
Trial and error.
So if it does how the market responds to your idea when it first is it bad or good? So you have to. That's what Ray Dalio is saying, that you have to speak with people that have experience or some believability already to spark the idea if it's good or bad. So if you have something in your mind that you are interested to execute. So
okay.
But you're saying that the market is quite full. Yeah, there's still a lot of room if you improve the marketing branding message, because most of the things you can do the same thing, but if you find a way of doing better marketing, it's all about marketing. In the end, the message, how you communicate your stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, there are definitely some gaps still in the market where the technology isn't in yet. So, but it's getting tougher and tougher, and you need to be more clearer when you do something.
Right. So you don't necessarily need to invent something new. You can just have a different kind of angle to it, selling angle. All right, so we want to round up this interview now, and as a final question, I want to ask you, Kenneth, what advice would you give to my audience, someone who's watching this, if just, it's general, it can be whatever you've learned over the past years of working, it can be regarding basically any advice, something we want to hear from you that you feel is important to bring this message across to people.
the first thing what holds people a lot back is an anxiety. So anxiety, because first Instagram and all these social media channels, when you see people they have such a good life and stuff like that. First, an anxiety problem, which I face kinda, and because I was comparing myself with others who were successful, and when I'm immediately comparing with them, I feel bad because I'm not there. And always you can find somebody who is better than you, so always you are the loser in that comparison. So that's why I had to I wanted to go to visit psychologist, because I understand how my brain is working, and psychology is quite interesting topic which I enjoy reading. And then I found out how my brain and all these thoughts are related to each other, so I had to eliminate that. So I'm not using Instagram anymore, because I just don't feel like I don't need to care what other people's doing, because I have my own life. I need to enjoy that. So and so to avoid an anxiety is one thing is meditation, which I found it's just incredibly good, because it calms you down. When you have a stressful day, lowers your stress level, stuff like that. You are more energized when you do meditation. I do TM meditation twice a day, which Ray Dalio also is doing.
What's TM?
Transcendental meditation. So TM is just the short name of So and I enjoy doing that. So Ray has inspired me on that part again. So and I kind of believe that when people are more calm, better outcomes will be performed. So this is I'm trying to convince kind of my partners and my future employees to go through the meditation stuff as well. And then we will see how it really works when the whole team is practicing the meditation.
Interesting.
So because the Maharishi Yogi, who is the inventor for the meditation practice, what I'm telling, they have done in the US really in-depth researches for how the team should perform better and stuff like that when you do the meditation. So that's why when there has been in-depth PhD researches on that, I kind of it builds trust on me that it should work. So. But I will see when I really have my team practicing it and what's the result.
Interesting.
So which TM meditation reduces anxiety, so you should be more calm to make better decisions, because an anxiety you want to rush. I'm under pressure, I have to do something. You're not under pressure. You haven't just find your way to the right path.
Interesting. So, when you're in anxiety, someone feels that they're in this flight or fight mode, right? But then when you're calm, when you meditate consistently, then you are calm and your thinking is rational and you can make better decisions.
And your brain and decisions are more clearer, and you see where could be your chance to do something different.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time, for sharing with us your thoughts, and thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. That was interesting. My first time having such an interview, so
I hope it's not the last one.